Hi, how are you doing? This is Pastor Cheryl. As you know, we're in the middle of a Bible study, and we are going through the Synoptic Gospels. This is called Parallel Gospels, and I had this book both in undergrad as a religion major and seminary. I went to Drew. Drew was a very good school. Here we are starting Matthew. It's the baptism of Jesus. Matthew 3, 13 through 7. Mark 1, 9 through 11. And Luke 3, 21 and 22. Okay, we have, it goes down through here, and on up to here. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. This one, Matthew has pretty much it all. And as you know, he was the one that copied Mark and Luke and then added Q, which is Quella, to, his writings because he wanted more of a, the whole story, the entire story. So here, Matthew. Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan to John to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him from saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me?" But then Jesus answered him, "Let it be so now, for it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." Then he consented. All righteousness? I colored that in red because I thought that was an odd thing to say. Mark said, in those days Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee. A little different. This one says Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan. And the next one says when all the people were baptized. Doesn't say where. And we're jumping on up here to the next page. And when Jesus was baptized, this is Matthew, and he went up immediately from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting on him. And lo, a voice from him saying, "This is my beloved Son, whom I am well pleased." Mark is almost word for word identical. Pretty much the same story. Luke is a little different. It says, and when Jesus had been baptized and was praying, that's the difference there. He was praying, and the heavens opened. And then there's a gap. And the Holy Spirit descended upon him in bodily form as a dove. And a voice came from heaven, "Thou art my beloved Son, with thee I am well pleased." And this is the biggest difference right up here in red, where it says, and was praying. Most parents are enthralled with their children, and apparently God was thrilled with Jesus. And always spoke highly of him. Thought he was a great kid. And I'm wondering how many parents out there think the same of their children. But it's been my experience that a lot of kids need those warm fuzzies. You need to build them up. Because a lot of parents say negative things to their children about them, right in front of them. You're stupid. You're dumb. You're a bad kid. You don't do things right. You're not smart enough. Whatever. When I was a kid, I had dyslexia. I wrote backwards up to about 2nd or 3rd grade. And I guess that's normal. But back in the 60s, in the 50s, that was not normal. And I got a lot of negative stuff from my dad. "You're not smart. You're just dyslexic, so that means you're dumb." He used to actually say that to me. And then he would have these blow-ups. He had a bad temper. And then he'd come back and apologize and say, people say things that they don't mean when they're mad. And so I reasoned that ignore Dad because he says things he doesn't mean. Okay, you have to watch that. Your kids might be smarter than you. Think about that. They might be able to figure you out and see through you. So I just learned to ignore Dad. I went on and got really good grades in college and grad school. And I was Phi Theta Kappa. And all through that, Dad used to tell me that I was a dumb kid because I had dyslexia. It means I transposed numbers and letters. My twos were backwards. I used to get in trouble from that in like first and second grade. I was sent to the principal's office for writing my numbers and letters backwards. Little kids do that. It just takes a while for the brain to like flip it around. It's a visual problem in the brain, and it's like a camera, and they don't flip the numbers back around until they're at least in third grade. And I couldn't tell my left from my right, and until I was, I think in college, and I started lifting weights in front of a mirror, and then you do this. Yeah, I was into weight training, and I would lift weights and left, right, left, right. That straightened it out. Exercise will straighten out that dyslexia. It's a little confusion. However, when I got in the car, I knew exactly where I was, and I could find wherever I needed. I was like a bird in the air. I knew exactly where I was in the Quad Cities, and I could take you right there. You know, I had just this innate sense. So, you know, be good to your kids. Be good to your kids. Because they're really smart, and they need to hear that. They need to hear what they're good about or good at doing. And so they can continue on with life. And people are always surprised to hear me give compliments to kids. And I said that's because they need those warm fuzzies, because I bet you their parents at home don't do it to them. They don't tell them that they're smart. They don't tell them that they're gifted. They don't say those things. So parents, you better start saying those things. God said he was well pleased with his kid. Why can't you say that about your kid? Tell them how much you love them. Okay, good message. Let's see, we were here, then up to here, and tomorrow we will be down here. And I kind of wonder about it because going through the genealogy of Christ again. We might skip that unless there's something significant here and go to the temptation. I'll look it over. The temptation is down here. But I will see you, and, you know, tune in tomorrow. I'll see you. Bye-bye.